Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to walk you step by step on how I shipped my cookies. Here's everything I need. I have a few boxes set up over there to place my ready cookies in. I have Easter grass, self-sealing cellophane bags. I have bubble wrap bags for individual wrapping, and my boxes back here with the little bows. And of course, I have my tray of cookies. The first thing that I do when I'm shipping cookies for customers, I do wear gloves when packaging and when decorating them. So I'm going to take one of my cookies and a self-sealing cellophane bag. And what I like to do is I kind of like try to see where it fits best or how it fits more snugly. So I'll drop it in and then kind of like see if that's the shape that I want it to go in. If you want it to go the other way, you can definitely place it the other way, but this is what I like to do first. And as you can see, depending on the kinds of cookies that you make, or depending on the types of orders that you're doing, all of your cookies are going to probably have a different shape. And I will leave the dimension of the bags and all the materials that I'm using down in the description box below, and I'll also post it on my website with more details. The first cookie that I'm going to seal up is this ice cream cone cookie, and as you can see, I did go ahead and leave it in there slanted because if I do it straight up, there's going to be a little bit of space in the bag, and then it's going to let the cookie kind of just like jump around in the bag, which may cause breaking. So the goal is to make sure that your cookies fit very snugly, because the more snug they are in the packaging, the less likely they are to break. I also like to test out how both of the cookies will fit in my little box, because the last thing I want is for them not to fit into this box. Now that I've made sure that both of my cookies fit into this little box, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of Easter grass. You can also use paper shred for this part, and what this is doing is just adding a little bit of more cushion on the bottom. But remember that further along, we are going to wrap each of these cookies in a little individual bubble wrap bag. And again, you'll see me trying to see if they fit in, because you have to remember that the more padding or the more protection that you add to your box, the tighter that your cookies are going to fit in there. So you just want to make sure that they really do fit. And here I have my little bubble wrap bag. So I'm going to slip in my cookie. And like we did earlier with the self-sealing cellophane bag, you want to make sure that your cookie is in there very snug and that you seal it very tight. For this portion, you could also use a bigger bubble bag and put both of the cookies into one bag. It really depends on the shape that you're using for your cookies. Sometimes that can save you space, sometimes it doesn't. So you kind of have to do a trial and error to see what works for you. And sometimes you do have to fold up edges like I did here. Just make sure that your cookie does go in there and it fits very snug, because it's less likely to move. Here's the part where I have been mentioning earlier, is that every time you add packaging, you want to make sure that your cookies fit, because as you can see, now that we added the bubble wrap bag, our cookie packaging is a little bit chubbier, so I am having a little bit more trouble finding the perfect spot for my cookie. Sometimes you have to move them around, you have to switch them directions, take them out and start over. Just make sure that they fit in there very, very snug. You can also do the little shake test to make sure that your cookies are tight in there and they won't move as much. And once you've done that, we're gonna go ahead and add our little box lid on top. And what I did here is I actually glued the ribbon onto the box because the last thing I wanted was for my clients to receive their box, undo the bow, take off the little bubble wrap, and then have to do the bow again. It's just too much for them to figure it out, and I can definitely show you guys how I did that ribbon in another video. So let me know down below if you want to see how I did that. And once I'm happy with my shake test, I do go ahead and add a little bit of transparent tape just to make sure that I add another layer of protection and that my box doesn't open when it's traveling in the mail. Now, in this particular sale, I did sell these sets individually, meaning that each set had 2 cookies, and meaning that each 2 cookies were wrapped up in that little clear box on the side with the ribbon. And I will be using priority boxes for this video. I always use priority boxes because I just don't feel like investing the money in cardboard boxes, aside from the fact that I don't have space, but I also want to maximize my resources by using things that are already free. Also, as a tip, I do, every time that I order something on Amazon or that comes in the mail, I do save the little wrap that it comes in. So this is recycled wrap, and I save, like, for example, if there's bubble wrap, cardboard wrap, whatever kind of wrap it is, I do recycle it. And here I'm simply taking it and again adding another layer of protection, and I will go ahead and fold this in very nicely and then place a little bit of tape on the back. Once I do have my box wrapped up, and again, the box wrapping part is optional, you don't have to do it. It just gives me a little bit more of peace of mind. I will be putting peanuts inside my empty shipping box. And as you can see here, sometimes you have to do trial and error. So if you put too much of something, you can always take out in this particular scenario. So I am putting peanuts on the sides to ensure that the sides of my box don't move inside while traveling. Because if your box moves slightly, it will cause either your royal icing to crack or your cookie to crack. This does seem like a lot of steps, and it seems like it's a lot of material and so time consuming, but trust me, if you take the extra steps now, you can possibly avoid broken cookies, which will cause more stress later. And what I do for these priority boxes, I actually order them online, and I will definitely leave the size here because this is a little bit bigger than the regular small priority size. So I will leave that listed below, but I order all of my priority shipping supplies from USPS online. And like I mentioned earlier, for this specific sale, I did only do kind of like set cookies. I didn't do by the dozen. So here I have an order of 3 of those little boxes, and I will be using a medium flat rate box. And again, I do order these online from USPS, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble my box. Make sure to tape every single part of your box very well to avoid that any content of your package slip either down through it or on top of it. And this is how your assembled box should look. And as I did with my previous package, I do always go ahead and test out how I want to place my packages into my boxes. So here, this is the placement that I'm choosing. And after I've chosen it, I'm going to go ahead and wrap these 3 boxes like I did the first box. And just to repeat again, the purpose of wrapping your cookie boxes, if you're doing individually like this together, is to avoid any moving around within your box. So sometimes even when you place your individual boxes and everything is tight in there, even if it's a little bit loose, while it's traveling in the USPS, it might have a chance that it can move around, therefore causing breakage or causing damage to your cookies. So that's why I like to do this. Once I have my package wrapped up, I am going to go ahead and insert it into the middle of my box. You can also do one corner or the other, but what I'm trying to do is just kind of offset the weight that the box will have. And on those spaces that are extra or that are empty, I am using, I think it's called packing paper. And again, I do recycle this from any of the packages that I order online. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of movement, but we still have the big gap on top of both packing paper sides. So I will fill the rest with peanuts. And if you do recycle your packaging from things that you order online, I do feel like aside from being very resourceful, you do save on actually having to buy more packing paper and things of that sort, and you can concentrate on actually just getting packing peanuts and other things that you need. So here I am testing out to make sure that my box closes. And again, I always like to do that shake test just to make sure that there's no space for error, no space for my box of cookies to move. And if you do feel like there is any, you can always put in more peanuts or more packing paper. And finally, just make sure that you wrap up your box and tape it very securely to make sure that everything stays in there. I have also shipped dozen cookies, a little bit different, but also a little bit the same as I did here. If you want to see that video, please let me know down below. And for this specific shipment of cookies that I showed you in the video, none of the cookies broke, everything arrived safely, and I was at peace of mind the whole time, knowing that I wrapped my cookies very securely and very tightly in their packaging. Here are a few photos of how my packages ended up looking. The little pink packages are actually from my Etsy store where I sell molds, but all the boxes are cookies. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any suggestions, or even just let me know if you've tried this before. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!